I don't know if y'all heard about this the other day, but this was so funny and depressing at the same time. New York governor regrets saying black kids in the Bronx don't know what a computer is. Democrat, by the way, so just keep that in mind as you're voting these people in to represent you, speak for you, make the best decisions for the community. They're completely out of touch with the community. They don't know anything. They've never even been here. Here's the clip right here.
And I want others to follow, because right now we have, young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things.
I think this shows not only how disconnected they are from us, but how low they think of us. Like we're still in some primitive state where we haven't even discovered fire yet, and we're throwing spears at fishes to catch dinner and shit. Like, yeah, you're right. I went to the Bronx and none of the black folks there knew what technology was. I turned the flashlight on my phone and they thought I was doing magic. Matter of fact, they didn't even know what cars were. They were still using horses and wagons and shit, driving around them little Flintstone cars. Like, bro, what are you talking about? This lady has never been to the Bronx. I'm convinced she never even leaves her multi-million-dollar gated enclave with armed security. I mean, how out of touch with reality could a person possibly be? And why is she representing anybody when clearly all she knows how to represent are rich elites who are equally as disconnected with reality as she is? These people see black people as primitive animals. Like we're out here clacking rocks together and making fires out of sticks and shit. Look, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat because I hate most politicians on both sides, but we have to stop voting Democrat. Look at the state of black communities in Democrat-ran cities. They're practically slaughterhouses. Look at the amount of crime, violence, and anarchy taking place in these Democrat-ran cities. The coroners collect the bodies and these politicians collect the checks. There was a reason Malcolm X said to fear the white liberal. Why do we let people who know nothing about our communities decide what's best for our communities? Why do we let them speak for us? These people have nothing in common with the people they're defending or representing. And if push came to shove, they'd associate themselves with the elites over those they claim to stand for every time. They are not our allies. There's a reason you see them attending galas and private events and not block parties and cookouts. They come around us, pinch their noses, and look down upon us as if we were animals beneath them. They don't even live amongst us. They live in gated neighborhoods designed to keep people like us out. But we let them represent us. We let them speak for us. We trust them. Why? Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you're not even black. Imagine Joe Biden taking your black card. Tell me, what business does a white guy have telling a black person what would make them black or not? These politicians feel entitled to you. They weaponize your own race and identity against you, whilst simultaneously telling you that they're here to protect you. And they, like many on the left oftentimes do, treat blackness like a state of mind rather than a skin color. If race was viewed as simply just a skin color and left at just that, then they can't use it to infiltrate your mind. So they make it more than that. They turn race into a state of mind and use our tribalistic nature against us. And this is how you create the sheep mentality amongst a group of people. Do this or you're not black. Talk this way or you're not black. Vote this way or you're not black. And these are the same individuals who profit off of prisons. Prisons predominantly filled with black people. These are the same people who help push and promote some of the most degenerate figures within the black community. See, they can't just scour the streets and round black folks up and chuck them into cages anymore. So what's the alternative to physical slavery? Mental slavery. They help to create, push, and promote a toxic and degenerate culture onto the black community. And then the black community will degrade so much to the point where they'll glorify crime and degeneracy within their own communities and get themselves locked up. And when they go about it this way, the black folks will do all the work for them. I mean, how many times just recently have we seen rappers getting locked up because they rapped about real crimes, or people getting locked up because they live streamed themselves committing a crime? I mean, at this point, how can you not argue that they're not begging to be locked up? Obviously not all black people, but a large enough amount. instead of fighting against the degenerate culture, or subculture rather, feed into it instead. They lean into the materialism, consumerism, glorification of violence, ignorance, victim mentality, over-sexualization, objectification, etc. They sell us death and damnation, and we buy it every single time. Then the left, the same ones who help to contribute to this epidemic, constantly make excuses for the degeneracy and labels anybody who dares to call it out a racist or white supremacist to silence those who advocate for change. The black community then feeds into this same behavior themselves, labeling anybody who doesn't condone or partake in such degeneracy terms like whitewashed, Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckus, etc. These are the same people who sabotage the black community by claiming all accountability for the crimes and degeneracy taking place within their communities, and chalking all poor behaviors committed by any black individual as simply being due to a hatful of buzzwords and irrelevant factors related to such acts. When they see a black woman twerking on a coffin at a funeral, or a black man with his pants sagged down to his ankles, or a group of black American women going to Ghana to twerk at a slave trading post, they will excuse all of this behavior by bringing up something from the past that is completely irrelevant to engaging in such behavior, like redlining. Like, what does redlining have to do with a black woman twerking on somebody's coffin at a funeral? And see, then what happens is the community itself never takes accountability, because the accountability is being taken by another community. You got all these people on the left going, oh, don't worry, black community, it's all our fault. None of you are to blame. Keep doing what you're doing. We'll take the blame for it. And so nothing changes. The black community is never handed a mirror to self-reflect, because these arrogant white savior are too busy staring at themselves within it. And then naturally, you're going to have a large portion of the black community that lets them do it. They enjoy it because it helps them never have to take accountability for anything. They have a built-in excuse for all of their shortcomings. They can act whichever way they want, and they can blame it on somebody else. And then on top of all of this, we have certain three-letter organizations and movements that have had their claws sunken into the black community's throat for decades. Corruption, convenient assassinations, experimentation, drug smuggling, brainwashing, and so much more. These are the puppet masters, those at the top, the elites, the unseen orchestrators, architects of destruction and manipulation. They peddle poison to us, and we consume it and redistribute it amongst ourselves. And as they watch us cannibalize each other with sneaky grins on their faces, when we close our eyes, they cash their checks at the bank. Don't forget what Tupac told us. They say it's the white man I should fear, but it's my own kind doing all the killing here. I feel the demonization of white people is unproductive and misguided. They are not our enemy. The hard truth is that we are our own worst enemies, and we've been trained to be by the powers that be and the powers unseen. And you would be very naive to believe that those pulling the strings are only white.